Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very important live video update tonight. So I was thinking right back to the very start of this year, and I remember explaining to people way back in, I think it was early January, that the powers that be were going to be pushing harder than ever this year in particular to get their various agendas across the line. And of course, we've seen that with the recent Victorian voice in Parliament, obviously the digital ID push, the whole cashless agenda, and of course the soon to be incoming under 16s social media ban, which I'll be speaking about a bit more later in tonight's video. But the other thing that I explained is that they would be increasing their efforts to try and completely discredit anyone who dared to think outside the box, or God forbid, actually question the government or the mainstream media narrative. And of course, we've seen that well and truly this year with all of the sovereign citizen stories, the whole Blk Fri situation, and of course their desire to just come out and attack everyone who dares to challenge the system, like that recent, mad, bad and dangerous article from the Herald Sun. Well, despite all of our strongest efforts here at the Know Your Rights Group, including, of course, following all of those legal channels to get all references to myself and our group removed from that aforementioned article, it seems like they are absolutely hell-bent on ramping up their efforts as we close out this year and, as you'll see in a moment, as we lead into next year as well. So one of the main articles that I want to focus on tonight is yet another one of these stories designed to try and discredit anyone who dares to, research and think for themselves. Now, this was actually a Channel 7 hit piece where they belligerently having a go once again at so-called conspiracy theorists. So you can see how they framed the whole title of the article, being so belligerent and belittling. How to talk to your friends and family who are deep into conspiracies. I've done my research. It's not a conspiracy. They're lying to us. It's all about control. Pretty much true. In the age of echo chambers, it seems society is more fragmented than ever before, especially after COVID. Gee, I wonder why. It can feel difficult to talk to people about something they have a set view on, like COVID, especially when their algorithm feeds them compelling videos that may seem convincing but are often inaccurate, like how you have to all go and get jabbed to save your lives, social distance, all that sort of stuff. So how do you talk to your friends and family if they've fallen down a rabbit hole, like watching the news every night? And if you think it's affecting them, how do you change the algorithm so that it champions more credible sources? When someone you care about starts sharing conspiracy theories, the first instinct may be to correct them. But that approach rarely works, says Jessamy Perriam, Senior Lecturer in the School of Cybernetics in the Australian National University. I think one of the challenges is actually knowing what's verified and what's credible to begin with, Miss Perriman says. Absolutely. That is the key question, isn't it? We'll come back to that in a moment. As generative AI becomes more widespread, it's getting harder to tell legitimate information from manipulation. Is it really, though? Again, we'll come back to that. It's about checking the sources and understanding who is saying something and why they might be motivated to say a particular thing, she says. Just like the mainstream media. What's their agenda? Ms. Perriman says it's important to use trusted sites like news organisations. Sorry, something in my throat. When searching for information. Verified accounts are a good starting place for that. And then you know that there are other secondary sources that aren't social media, but actual media outlets that have fact-checking services or a fact-checking section as part of it. And we all know how well the fact-checkers have done recently, don't we? You just shake your head, don't you? And then there's a subheading, how to know if information is credible. Determining whether an article can be trusted has changed over the years. Really? I almost thought the proof was in the pudding. Had been around for donkeys. I still think it still is. Anyway, readers used to be able to tell quite easily if information didn't make sense or if there were typos, but now it's much more complicated. No, if there's a typo, there's a typo. I'm not sure whether that's got to do with how accurate information is, though, really. I mean, let's not get too pedantic. Misinformation can be difficult to spot, according to Piers Howe, Associate Professor in the Melbourne School of Psychological Sciences at the University of Melbourne. It may look like a reputable source, but a quick Google could find out if it's a faux. According to him, Google itself tends to prefer more reliable sources, placing them at the top of a search. Well, that's good to know if you search for Know Your Rights, okay, or Learn Your Rights in Google. We come up pretty much number one. So there you go. How to talk to your friends about misinformation. When it comes to talking to people who've been drawn into misinformation, both experts that spoke to the nightly urged empathy and perspective. And we said this before in our videos. Just because some people still buy into the mainstream media narrative doesn't mean you need to attack them. Just try and direct them away from that and to the truth. A lot of people are seeking out help or advice from a really genuine standpoint because they want to be healthy or they want to be living the healthiest life possible, Miss Perriam says. Or they might have a legitimate fear of the medical profession based on past experiences. No, surely not. People stumble onto this content as a result of having a genuine information need that they feel isn't being met elsewhere. Hello? What exactly is wrong with that? If you go to a doctor and he says, I don't know what's wrong with you, why wouldn't you go to an alternative medical practitioner and see if they've got a better idea? If the mainstream medical system is failing you, why not look elsewhere? If you go to a liar for hire, a lawyer, I always get that wrong, sorry, my bad. They go, oh, look, we want to charge you, $500 just to write a letter and $5,000 to run a speeding fine over a $100 ticket. Why wouldn't you go to alternative legal sites to find out how to do it cheaper, easier and quicker? That just makes sense. I don't understand the point they're trying to make. The goal, she adds, should be maintaining the friendship and leaving space for that person to reconsider their views one day. Absolutely. So if you've got a friend or family member that still believes the mainstream media, be kind to them. And you never know, maybe through enough of these videos doing the rounds over a few more years, they might finally get the message. Why do people challenge climate change? Gee, I don't know. Climate change is pretty well established, Professor Howe says, but there are some people who are trying to claim it's not man-made and that humans aren't significantly contributing to it, despite that being a very well-established fact. Really? Is it really though? I mean, man's been around for a long time and the climate's only really been changing in the last 10 or 20 years. Trying to just challenge that straight on isn't going to achieve anything. I mean, that's been challenged so many times, it's not going to be you who persuades them otherwise. Well, yeah, maybe. Often, climate change deniers live in rural areas and they're concerned that we have to take climate change seriously, what it might do for the rural community and what impact it might have. I mean, God forbid people care about their rural communities and care about what impacts this, climate change rubbish might have on them. I mean, hello? Why trustworthy news is important. There's an oxymoron if ever I've seen one. Misinformation and sensational headlines spread quickly, which is why Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10, ABC, all these people use them all the time. Look at some of the Daily Mail stuff that I've read out in these videos just this year about, Desi Freeman and conspiracy theorists and all the rest of it. Therefore, the role of news organisations in providing credible, responsible information has never been more critical. Yeah, except now it's alternative news stations, like us in these videos, rather than your, mainstream journals. Mr. Howe explains that questions of credibility have evolved, and today's media faces a new challenge beyond simply verifying facts. But that's the problem. They don't. I get up here and I show you articles and I read out reports and I read out research and I read out data and I read out specifics and I read out testimonials and I show you court orders and I verify everything that I say, yet the mainstream media doesn't, and that's the difference. So, this is a part of a bigger question. What is credible? Exactly. There was a famous case during 19 of a doctor who got the COVID vaccine, had a reaction and died. Although the information was true, Mr. Howe said, it was shared so widely that it created a distorted perception of risks associated with the vaccine. Well, did it really though? He said many Americans were influenced by this and decided not to get the vaccine. It's a pity more Australians weren't influenced by it as well and used their brains. Okay, so this is the rubbish that the mainstream media are spouting. Now, obviously, I can't say too much because the good old fact checkers, will come out and censor everything again as usual. But I'm pretty sure that everybody watching this video is smart enough to draw their own conclusions, okay, and see what this article is really all about. Okay, look, absolutely, it's one thing to say, oh, look, be careful about sharing, AI-generated content, like some of the stories that have been doing the rounds recently about supposed new fines for eating while you're driving or driving without your headlights on or driving curfews for over 60s, those kinds of things that were pretty simple to prove that they were AI-generated and they simply weren't true. But of course, this is not what that particular article is focused on. It instead is focused on convincing people that if they don't believe what the mainstream media is telling them, then clearly there's something wrong with them. Now, let's not forget, okay, the mainstream media, they were the ones that told us that the Middle East had weapons of mass destruction. Of course, that turned out not to be true. It was the mainstream media who told us that COVID jabs were safe and effective. And again, just have a look at some of the data that's been coming out about that, especially in the past year or so. Okay, the mainstream media told us that 9/11 was orchestrated by a man with a beard in some cave somewhere. Now, I haven't met anyone in years that doesn't believe that 9/11 was an inside job. And on and on and on it goes. So we urge you to check out our conspiracies page, and you'll find a link going up in the comments if you're watching this on Facebook. Otherwise, just go to our website, click on the conspiracies tab, and just have a look at some of the so-called conspiracy theories that actually turned out to be 100% true. Okay? And remember, of course, it can't be a conspiracy theory if it is true. Now, before we look at some of the other articles that I want to cover tonight that absolutely fly in the face of that last article, I just want to give everybody a very important heads up. So I was actually contacted by a Channel 7 producer from the 7 News Spotlight program just the other day, and he openly told me that they are intending on filming a detailed report on alternative legal, political and rights-driven philosophies in Australia. I'm sure you can all work out what that's code for. He also openly admitted that they're going to be interviewing police and so-called legal experts. I'm telling you right here, right now on this video, mark my words, that means that they're going to be rolling out all the golden oldies, the so-called constitutional expert Anne Toomey, I'm sure will get some airtime, as of course would be, none other than good old ex-magistrate David Healpern, amongst some others, I'm sure, that are going to put their spin on, why our information and strategies, along with other people's, I'm sure, don't work, despite, of course, me regularly reading out testimonials from our members proving completely the opposite. And yes, I've got another testimonial to read out again tonight, a little later on. So my request from all of you watching this is just simply be aware that they are preparing that story. Apparently it's going to film early next year, just so that you're ready for it when it does come out. And of course, feel free to make your comments on it. And B, in the meantime, if I can ask you, if you have had some success with our information, with any of the Aussie speeding fines information, any of the bank secrets revealed strategies and information, if you could email through your testimonials with as much detail as possible. Actual copies of letters of withdrawal, court orders that showing cases have been dismissed, like I'm about to show you tonight. They are absolutely perfect, and that way we can categorically prove that our information and strategies work just as we say they do, should Channel 7 or anybody else for that matter try and deny it or attack us in some way. All right, so let's have a look at some other articles that debunk the rubbish that is reported in that last article. So one of the claims, of course, was about climate change being man-made. Now, again, obviously, I can't say too much, but I can remind you about the government agenda. And that, of course, is that we all have to drive electric cars and pay higher carbon taxes. And that, according to the government, will all magically stop climate change. Now, don't forget, of course, that climate change just used to be referred to as global warming, but of course they stopped that. I wonder why. Now, as I said on my last video update, there's absolutely no doubt that climate change is real. It changes all the time, okay? But what the media wants you to believe is that the planet is somehow heating up because of man-made factors like CO2 output. I mean, they want you to just completely forget for a moment about how much CO2 is actually expelled, whenever a volcano explodes or something like that, okay? But according to them, it's all man-made. Well, maybe that particular reporter would like to explain the following article that I'm about to read out, which, by the way, was reported in the mainstream media. It was news.com.au to be exact. You can't get much more mainstream than that. So they can't claim that it's some fringe article or AI generated or some kind of misinformation or conspiracy theory. Here it is. And lo and behold, it says exactly the opposite of what they're currently saying. Climate scientists claim Gulf Stream could be near collapse, predicting a new ice age. Alarming research shows how the risks to the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation currents, so the AMOC, could change the world forever. A key Atlantic current could be pushed to the brink of collapse within decades, supposedly ushering in a new ice age and dramatically raising sea levels, climate scientists have claimed in a controversial new study published in the journal Communications, Earth and Environment. The apocalyptic predictions came as a result of a collaboration between researchers at the Institute of Oceanology of the Chinese Academy of Sciences and the University of California, San Diego. Weeks after one-time climate alarmist Bill Gates publicly downplayed the impact of temperature fluctuations on the planet. It goes on to explain in all scientific detail what this current is and why they're worried about it and all the rest of it. But then it finishes off with this. By examining observational data dating back to 1960, the research team discovered that the mid-depth warning trend that spiked in the late 2000s, indicating the AMOC's decline, began in the late 20th century. Should the AMOC slow down too much, they claim, it could have significant ramifications. These include the extreme suggestion that temperatures across Europe could drop by nearly 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Winters would be more typical of Arctic Canada, and precipitation would decrease also. Jonathan Bamber, a professor of Earth observation at the University of Bristol, told the Daily Mail. Coincidentally, the last time the AMOC collapsed was before the last ice age that ended about 12,000 years ago. So there you have it. Of course, the problem is, who are we supposed to believe? I mean, which one is it? Is the planet heating up and therefore we all need to drive electric cars to somehow cool it down? Or are we heading into an ice age, in which case we better all fire up those old V8s and, let's warm things back up again? Okay, I mean, they've got to have some consistency, because right now it's just a complete joke. Okay, now that first article that I read out also spoke about one isolated incident of a doctor dying after taking the COVID vaccine. But of course, as we all know, it wasn't actually that isolated at all. In fact, we've had many stories of elite athletes, dropping dead on sporting fields. There have been some shocking photos doing the rounds just recently about how people have just literally faded away after taking the jabs. I mean, have a look at this heartbreaking photo here. Okay, now it's chopped a little bit of the top of the article off there, but just have a look at the actual photo. If you want to look up the articles, horrific photos show what happened to healthy mum after COVID shot. Okay, that's what ended up happening to her, and of course she ended up passing away. Okay, this is truly tragic stuff. Okay, then of course there's the story that came out just last week that was doing the rounds from one of the very first people who ever got the jab. Okay, and lo and behold, what does it say there? He's now paralysed and can no longer work. He was one of the very first people to ever get the COVID jab. Okay, and that's his story. Okay, now these are just the ones I've come across in the past week or so. They pop up all the time. Okay, that bus that's touring the country, the Vaxxed bus, I mean, they've got story after story after story of vaccine injured people. Okay, but But of course, according to the government and the mainstream media, it's very, very rare and definitely not indicative of the majority of results. Okay, sure, if you say so. As always, I'll let you guys make up your own minds and determine what is real and what is not. All right, let's have a look at some other so-called conspiracy theories. What about the digital ID? I mean, everyone said that would never happen. It was just a conspiracy. Well, guess what? Apple have just introduced it officially into their phones in the US. Okay, now you can be sure if they've started there, they're going to roll it out in other countries as well. So here's the article. Apple just announced major changes to iPhone's digital wallet feature, but not everyone is happy about it. According to a press release from the company, the digital ID will allow users to create an ID in Apple Wallet using information from their US passport. Once set up, users can securely present their identity using the privacy features built into their iPhone or Apple Watch. Since introducing the ability to add a driver's license or state ID to Apple Wallet in 2022, we've seen how much users love having their ID right on their devices. Digital ID brings this secure and convenient option to even more users across the country, as they can now add an ID to Wallet using information from their US passport. What could possibly go wrong? Following the announcement, social media quickly lit up with reactions ranging from excitement to skepticism. One Instagram meme account shared its take on the rollout, writing in a post, "Sucks to be one of those losers that went to the DMV to get a real ID." Others chimed in with concerns and jokes about the potential downsides. Point of view, you're locked out of your entire existence because you forgot your iCloud password, one commenter wrote, while another added, identity theft is now just as easy as losing your phone. Someone else offered a tongue-in-cheek suggestion for Apple. You should be able to vote on your phone. Well, at least then you could prove some sort of ID. Who knows? Maybe the last one's not so silly after all. But yeah, this is real, people. Okay, it is happening right now. Now, some of you might be like, oh, but Mike, that's in the US. You know, they're different over there. Yes, they definitely are. They certainly weren't stupid enough to let their government take their guns off them. So, yes, they are different indeed. Okay, but what about right here in Australia? Well, we, of course, have the de facto digital ID, which, of course, is being brought in by way of this new under-16 social media ban, which, of course, in reality affects everyone over the age of 16 way more than it affects those under. Now, thankfully, one MP has decided to stand up and fight back in the High Court, no less. So here's the article if you want to look that up for yourselves and offer some support. MP to launch High Court challenge against unconstitutional social media ban. New South Wales MP John Ruddock has announced he will challenge the federal government's world-first social media ban in the High Court. In the statement, the Libertarian MP said he would argue the new law coming into effect next month is unconstitutional as it violates the implied constitutional freedom of political communication. He will be filing with the court via the digital freedom projects he leads imminently. The guts of the matter is that to have a social media account in Australia from 10th of December, you will need to prove to the social media platform that you are over the age of 16, he said. That's going to be a hassle for social media users and a huge administrative burden for the social media platforms. Lots of bright young kids who are curious about science or history or whatever learn so much from social media. Lots of people choose to have an anonymous social media account. And why shouldn't they? Ruddock has a limited number of sitting days to have his bid mentioned in the High Court ahead of when the rules come into effect. Google is also reportedly preparing to launch a last-ditch legal challenge against YouTube's inclusion in the ban. So at least somebody is standing up and doing something. So as always, I urge you, please get behind that case. Contact that MP, provide your support, write to your own members of parliament and ask them to do the same, or at least to get behind and support that MP. And remember, please, above all else, okay, it is up to the parents to decide what their children do and don't do online. It's not up to the government. Okay, if we let the government get involved at that early point, where on earth does it end? And of course, as far as the government's concerned, it doesn't. They want complete control at all times. And that, of course, is what we must put a stop to. Okay, and I do want to finish off with a positive story. Always good to end on a high note. And remember that, as always, people power absolutely can achieve amazing results, just as they did right here in Victoria just a few days ago. So if you missed this article, then go and have a look. And again, it shows that people can win if they stand up together collectively. Farmers defy compulsory access powers to block VicGrid staff. Farmers have thwarted VicGrid in its first attempt to use compulsory access powers to enter their properties. The government agency is seeking access to 29 properties to conduct environmental surveys before the construction of the VNI West transmission line. In recent weeks, it wrote to property owners, informing them that it needed access and would use powers under the Electricity Industry Act to gain entry if consent was not given. At two properties, one east of Witcherproof and another northeast of Stawell, VicGrid staff attempted to implement those powers. But at both properties, groups of more than 50 farmers blocked them. Eventually, the VicGrid employees left without getting onto the land. Now it seems likely they'll seek court orders to get access under new powers recently enacted in Spring Street. So again, at least that buys them a little bit more time, because these court orders don't happen automatically, and of course those court orders can be challenged. So for now, at least, that is a very positive result, and great to see, that these communities are standing together, and standing united to achieve such a good result. Now, if we could just get all Australians to take some similar action, especially when it comes to things like the digital ID, the cashless agenda, the social media ban, and even just learning about their rights in general, we'd be in a far better place than we all are right now very, very soon if we just got everyone to do that. So just to finish off, speaking, of course, about learning about your rights, as you may have seen earlier today, we did officially launch our very special 20% off Black Friday sale. We want to make it as absolutely simple and cost effective for everyone to get access to any and all information and strategies that we have available to help them. So in order to assist everybody in doing that, we're offering, as I said, a full 20% off, and that is on all of our physical products. So that's our book, our CDs, DVDs, our combo packs, even our big already heavily discounted mega packs and all the rest of it, platinum packs and the like, our home study course, even our tech packs with the USB, CD and DVD drives. We actually lose money on those when we do a sale, because we're only providing them just so people can access the various discs if they don't have a disk drive in their computer. So please, if you have been thinking about getting any of our products, okay, if you want to get something special, maybe as a gift for someone for Christmas, then just go to our products page. Again, you'll find that on the top of our website, or it should be going up in the comment section. Add whatever you want to add to the shopping cart, and then just enter the word black into the coupon code box, and you'll be able to get that extra 20% off automatically. And please, once you've ordered whatever it is that you are after, please be sure to share the details of this special promotion around with anyone and everyone that you know who wants, or maybe even needs, to learn about their rights, how to stand up for them, and of course how to fight back. All right, so as always, I'm going to finish off with the latest testimonial from one of our members, and of course the latest memes to get people thinking. So this one's from Vin, who sends us some actual court paperwork, which is fantastic. He says, the SDRO and Transport New South Wales tried to bully me into a mention for a hearing because I didn't pay a fine for non-payment of tolls. Fought it over and over again since May 2024 and questioned every part of the process, both with the prosecution and the court. It was a very, very stressful and challenging journey, and in the end, I didn't even appear before the court. They made me wait all day, and the decision was made without me. See attached. Happy for you to share my story and show the attached letter decision part of it. First, I beat the system with the dog registrations, and now the toll fines too. Just goes to show how corrupt they are. I'm so proud of myself, and now I can get on with my life. So there it is, and there's the actual court. You can see the court seal and everything there, and there's the actual court order. And as it says there, dismissed, withdrawn by consent. Okay, so people go, oh, the strategies don't work. Rah, rah, rah. Well, there you have his own words. Didn't even have to go to court, didn't even have to speak, waited there, and then they withdrew it. And there's the actual court documentation proving exactly that. All right, so I spoke, of course, just a moment ago about the whole climate change thing, and you can see here, there's the good old redhead and all the Aussie taxpayer billions, and having a chat to the CSIRO, and what does she say there? Just wondering if you guys can find evidence supporting man-made climate change. Hell yeah! Okay, and I think that really does say it all. Yes, this one made me have a giggle. For all you middle-aged people out there like myself, there's a photo of the good old Vax Street Boys. So, yes, all the usual suspects are there. And hopefully many of you watching this video can relate to this. Hopefully you're all doing exactly the same and avoiding all the BS. There's the COVID jabs, the digital ID. So hopefully everyone is managing to weave and duck and dodge all those things. And yes, finally, I think this is a very pertinent message, one that needs to be spread far and wide. And as it says there, with the proper cuts, we can make the system work for all of us. And I'll leave it up to you to figure out where those cuts need to be made. All right, so I am going to leave things there. As always, I do urge you to please use all the information that is available to you to please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. We really do need that this year more than ever before. As always, these videos are completely free to watch. You'll find them on our BitChute channel, also our YouTube channel. Do be sure to subscribe to those channels so you get all the notifications when we upload new videos. You'll also find them under the Reels tab. So it used to be the Videos tab. It's now called the Reels tab on our Facebook page. There is, of course, plenty of completely free information on our website. Our radio shows are completely free to listen into. Again, just a reminder, we'll be back live on air again on Tuesday night with another really great live radio show. There's just 3 radio shows left for the end of the year, so we're going to pack as much as we can into those. So be sure to tune in live between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. on Tuesday. If you've missed any of our previous shows, you can join up as a podcast member, access all 420-something shows that we've done over the past 11 years, and it literally costs less than $5 a week. You get access to the fully edited shows, the notes for each show, the transcripts for each show. Everything is there for you. It is absolutely affordable for everyone. Now, if you want to go above and beyond that, we of course, do recommend our book, the Know Your Rights book, the essential step-by-step manual for understanding and exercising your rights. That Aussie speeding fines book for successfully challenging all manner of unjust and unlawful fines, as you just saw with Vin and the toll fines. That's the process to follow. These guys have been around for nearly 20 years now. So do be sure to grab their book. And we do know a lot of people are genuinely struggling financially now. So please make sure you grab that Bank Secrets book and stop throwing good money after bad at these unsecured loans. That's things like your personal loans, your credit cards, things like that. They can be very easily discharged or written off with that tried, tested and proven 4-step process. Now, just a heads up, the Black Friday sale is only on the Know Your Rights products. I'm not sure what the other guys are doing. I think they're doing some sort of a Christmas sale or something, but we're doing ours on Black Friday. So if you do want their book, don't tell them that I told you, but you can actually find them on our website and the discount will be applied. But otherwise, you can get them as part of the combo pack. And, of course, you get that tote bag included as a bonus, completely free of charge, and you get the discount as well. Now, don't forget, our live events have finished for the year, but if you do want a full recording of one of our 2.5-day live events, then do be sure to grab a copy of our home study course. It's a complete recording of those events. There's 3 custom-made workbooks where you can write notes next to every single slide from every single presentation, 17 DVDs that you can pause, rewind, fast-forward in the comfort of your own home. It's a great resource that you'll come back to again and again over the years, and a great thing to spend some time looking at over the upcoming Christmas New Year break. Now, I know some people have said, oh, but we don't have CD or DVD players anymore in our computers. So grab yourselves one of these. So it is a USB CD DVD drive. You pop that thing in there. That'll stick it into your computer, whether you've got a laptop, PC, Mac, whatever it is. You can put USB drives in the top, and you can put the disk in, and you can convert everything from the disk over to USB. That way you pop the disk away in a safe, and that way you never ever lose it. It can't be corrupted like USBs can. It won't be lost. It won't disappear when your hard drive crashes. It's a really great way to keep the data on those disks and still have access to them. And speaking of disks, one of the most popular ones in the past few weeks, especially with our recent overview webinar, has of course been our success pack. Okay, so that includes a copy of our affidavit and submissions CD, which has got a whole bunch of affidavit submissions that you can file with the courts. You just copy and paste, your relevant details into them. And of course, it also includes, if I can open the pack, the Constitution Commission reports and the FOI, Freedom of Information CD, which again, when you print these out and you add them into your affidavit, they become absolutely rock solid. So again, these are all on sale as part of that Black Friday sale. So be sure to get those, and they'll be all sent out by express post for you as well. So I'm going to finish up there tonight. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Don't forget, we're back on Tuesday night for our next live radio show. And of course, again, next Thursday with our next live video update. Until then, take care.